गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्रयवतो गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्।
Om Shri Sairam. I offer my most humble and loving salutations at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Lord Bhagavan Shri Sathya Sai Baba. A loving Sairam to one and all, and a very warm welcome to the 8th episode of Satsang series, Satsangatve Nissangatvam. I am Aditi from the state of Tamil Nadu, Chennai Metro. I am a participant of the Sri Sathya Sai National Leadership Program batch of 2022. Today, I am truly honored for this opportunity to pilot this program for all of you. To begin with, please fasten your seatbelts as I shall taxi you through this program by introducing our guest speaker, Professor Dr. K. Usha Nair. Without any further ado, I request the IT team to take over.
Watch is the symbol of time. Watch is a reminder of the universal watcher. Contemplation of the watch leads to him. Watch, the watchword in leadership. Bhagavan Shri Sathya Sai Baba says, the word watch has an important message to convey. Watch means watch your words, watch your actions, watch your thoughts, watch your character, watch your heart. The speaker for this satsang, Dr. Usha K. Nair, is an educationalist who has been mindfully living by following the message of Bhagavan and has inspired her students, youth, and all who have been associated with her to make watch a way of life. Professor Nair was born as the eldest daughter of Shri K.R. Ramachandran Nair and Dr. Srimati Santa R. Nair, both of whom have been dedicated to the divine mission since 1965 and have been pioneers of Sai activities not only in Bhopal but across Madhya Pradesh. She is an alumna of the very early batches of Sri Sathya Sai Balavikas and has been blessed to receive diploma in Sri Sathya Sai education signed by Bhagavan himself. She has been a Balavikas guru since 1982. An ace bhajan singer, Dr. Nair was an A-graded artist with the All India Radio, during which she participated in many programs including the much acclaimed national program on Geet Govindam. She has had the rare privilege of singing in Bhagavan's immediate presence during his divine visit to Bhopal on the 13th April of 1982 at Ishwaramma Hall, Shantivan, Bhopal, which Bhagavan himself inaugurated. She also performed at Ravindra Bhavan, Bhopal, for a program on education and human values, after which Bhagavan created Vibhuti and blessed her and all other Sai sisters of the group. She had the opportunity to prepare and present several Balavikas programs and programs by the Sai youth of Madhya Pradesh before Bhagavan. She completed her diploma in Satya Sai Educare from Sri Sathya Sai Institute, Thailand, and was blessed to receive the diploma from the divine hands of beloved Bhagavan himself. In October 2005, after the Sai Children's Festival of Joy during the Balavikas Gurus Conference, Professor Nair was blessed with a coveted opportunity to speak on rural Balavikas in Sai Kulwant Hall in Bhagwan's divine presence. She has been a national faculty for Sri Sathya Sai Educare and has actively contributed for the accreditation of Sri Sathya Sai schools in India. She currently is the state in charge for the Sri Sathya Sai Education in Human Values program for the state of Madhya Pradesh. In 2021, she was awarded the Sri Sathya Sai Balavikas Alumni Award for Excellence. Professionally, she is a professor of physical chemistry with a teaching experience of over 39 years. At present, she is a state-level Incharge Nodal Officer for NAAC Accreditation of 530 odd government colleges in Madhya Pradesh. Apart from being dedicated to Bhagavan's mission and being indispensable at the professional front, Dr. Nair is also the driving force for her entire family and keeps everyone reminded of and connected to Swami's love. As a leader par excellence, she lives her life as his message, and by being ever watchful of herself, she practices a self-transformation driven leadership. To expound upon watch, the watchword in leadership, brothers and sisters, Professor Dr. Usha K. Nair.
Om Shri Sairam. I offer my most humble salutations at the feet of my beloved Bhagwan. I offer my salutations at the feet of my dear parents, respected chairperson of this Sri Sathya Sai National Leadership Program, who is our All India President, Shri Nimish Pandyaji. The driving force, the motivating force of this whole program, although it is Swami, but the instrument behind this whole program, Dr. Gopi Krishna Pidattala. I offer my pranams to each and everyone who has gathered here. I would, at the beginning, say that Dr. Gopi Krishna Pidattala, under the banner of Sri Sathya Sai National Leadership Program, is doing a great job in channelizing the energy of the youth of this country. Swami says the youth are full of ideas, full of energy, full of zeal, full of enthusiasm. But what they lack is experience. What they lack is where to use the energy that they have, the ideas that they have. And for this, you have, through this program, given them a great platform. And you are channelizing their energy in the right direction. So may Swami bless you for this special effort of yours. Today, I am speaking to the Sai youth who are also the Sai leaders of future. So leadership is idealism in action. This word that Swami prompted me that I should take up for today's Satsang. In fact, this word, this program, Satsangatve Nissangatvam itself, is so well named, because that is exactly what is required for the people of today. That is the need of the hour today. When we were small children, as Balvikas children, when we used to go to Prashantanilayam, Swami used to give us watches. And even otherwise, we had a tremendous desire to have a watch with Swami's photograph. And every time we used to get a watch, it was such a great experience, a bliss. And to receive it from Swami was, there is nothing to say about it. This watch has such a profound meaning in it. Swami, through his messages, through his teachings, has been constantly trying to uplift humanity, to bring humanity to tread the right path. Because Swami's role of Bhaktodharana is to uplift the strayed mankind onto the right path. So for that, Swami, of the teachings, of the messages, of all the ideals that Swami has given us, another profound one is this watch, WATCH. As it was said in the beginning, that it has 5 letters, and each letter carries a very important meaning. The first letter, W, this denotes the words. So watch your words. Words are singularly the most powerful tool that God has given us. It is the gift from Ma Saraswati to us, for us to express ourselves. It is a force which can be constructively used to encourage someone, to energize someone, to empower someone, to relieve someone of some pain or some problem that they have. So it is a weapon or a tool that God has given us. They are, in fact, verily God, Shabda Brahman. So words express our thoughts and emotions. It is a gift from us from God to us for communication. So as Sai leaders, young Sai leaders have to communicate with their team members. So you have to watch your words. Words emerge out of silence. So when you speak, always think before speaking whether I will improve upon the silence of the place. And if there is no need for me to speak, I should not speak. So it is a powerful instrument that God has given us for communication. Communication is the method we use to relate to others, to understand one another. And in communication, listening is a very important part. When we listen to each other, we should stop what we are doing, look into their eyes, understand what they have to say. So as leaders, I think you must develop all these things. And the tone is equally important. Very, very important how you speak, what you speak, when you speak. So respect is a value that is communicated when you speak to a person. Communication can be compared to a shadow that we see when we stand in the sun. We see a shadow. And if we move away from it, that shadow will grow. And if we move towards it, the shadow will disappear. Similarly, communication is a tool that is given, that is available to the leaders to go closer to your team members, avoid any discord, avoid any miscommunication among the members. So we have so many good quotations which say about how you speak. So Swami always emphasizes on the purification of speech. Words. The words we say should be purified. The purification Swami has mentioned in the 9-point code of conduct and keeps telling us mitbhashi bano, mridubhashi bano. Speak less, speak only when it is necessary, and speak softly. He has also said, if you can't always oblige, at least speak obligingly. So that purification of speech, Sant Kabir Das has also said, Aisi vani boliye, man ka apa khoye, auran ko sheetal kare, apahu sheetal hoye. Speak in such a voice that softens the heart of the listener as well as us. Have you seen how Swami talks to his students? Our beloved Bhagwan is the greatest example for every aspect of our life. Have you seen Swami, how he talks to the students? When he is talking to them, he almost gives himself to that child. He leans to that child. His ears are with the child. Then he looks at the child and talks to the student in such a loving manner. All this is for us to emulate, to practice in our lives. So the purification of speech, I come back to that. As leaders, we need to purify our speech, and that can be done only through prayers. Constantly taking the name of the Lord, your Ishta Devata, reciting Gayatri Mantra, reciting Rudram, the Vedas. Why has Swami emphasized on all that? So that we can constantly purify what we have to say. See, the eyes can do only one fault of seeing wrong things. Ears can do only one fault of hearing wrong things. But there are 4 sins that can be committed by the tongue. Speaking untruth, blaming others, carrying wrong tales about others, and talking too much. Everything Swami has said not to do. And as Sai youth, as Sai young leaders, we must take care of these things. When we are speaking, whether we are improving upon the silence of that place. So language is a very important component of leadership. As a leader, the words used in conversation with the team members or peers are often a direct reflection of the individual's leadership style. Leadership is about inspiring people to do things what they thought they would never do. So for that, you need your speech to be very pure, the words to be very, very thoughtfully used. So leadership is defined in 3 words: vision, direction, and support. And in everything, we know that for effective communication, to gain trust of the team members, in all our efforts in the pursuit for attaining the goals of whatever thing you are endeavoring, and for inspiring for a positive change, the words have a tremendous effect. Words of the leaders become even more important when you are communicating remotely over the video, where body language won't necessarily come through. You are actually not seen when you are talking on a video. Your words matter. So the first letter, that is W, watch, for watch your words. Another very important aspect of this word is keeping one's word. The leaders must keep their words. Again, Swami has given us an example. When Swami was a very small child, Sathya, Swami used to tell his sisters about Shirdi Baba. And in every song that he used to compose, the name of Shirdi Baba used to come. So both the sisters asked Swami, who is this Shirdi Baba? We would like to have a picture of him. Swami said, yes, I'll give you next Thursday. And that next Thursday, Swami was not there. Swami had gone out. But remember keeping one's word. In the morning, the elder sister felt that there is something in the store, moving in the storeroom. So she hurriedly went there. She thought it was a rat or something. Something had fallen in the storeroom. So she just started arranging things and found that there was a roll of a photograph. She opened to see that it was Shirdi Baba's photo, and exactly on Thursday when he had promised. So that is the importance of keeping one's word, what Swami has told us. So as leaders, the first letter, W, must help us to speak softly, speak only when needed, become a good listener, keep praying to Bhagwan, keep your word. It is more important to be kind than to be right. And a very important point, praise in public, blame in private. You must always follow this rule that when you have to praise someone, do it when everyone is there. Let everyone get inspired. It is not for inflating the ego. It is for others to get inspired. But when you are pointing towards some shortcoming, you must do it in private so that you don't hurt that person. So these are some of the things that we can do with our words. So when we said about prayers, again, I'm reminded of an instance of Swami. You feel that whether Swami listens, sometimes we get our feelings like that, whether Swami is listening to my prayer or not. Every time Swami responds, let me tell you, dear children, every time our beloved Lord responds to our prayers, sometimes we feel that he is not responding, he is only delaying it. But there are proofs that he listens to our prayers, he responds. There was a devotee of Swami who used to do Ashtottara Shatanamavali every day in his puja room. And after the Ashtottara Shatanamavali, he used to imagine Swami standing in front of him. And he used to, tightly hold, he used to imagine as if I am tightly holding Swami and doing Pada Namaskar. So he used to tightly hold Swami's feet and do Pada Namaskar. He went to Prashanti Nilayam. Swami called him for interview. And Swami said, what Swami said? What do you do? You don't give me some place to stand also when you are doing Pada Namaskaram after Ashtottara Shatanamavali. Why do you hold me so tight? Sometimes I feel that I'm falling. So this is the effect of our prayers. But you have to keep praying constantly so that our speech gets purified. we come to the next letter, A. A stands for action. Watch your actions. So according to the Hindu philosophy, the Indian philosophy, human birth takes place according to one's karmic balance. Swami says you are reaping in the present what you have done in the past, and what you are doing, sowing now in the present, you will reap in future. So lead ideal lives that will lead to fulfillment of purpose of human life. In Dhyana Vahini, Swami, you know about all the Vahinis. In Dhyana Vahini, Swami has very emphatically stressed on two types of karmas, actions. The Vishaya karma and the Shreyo karma. Vishaya karma is the actions that we do from the time we get up we awake, and then till the time we go back to bed. So many things we keep on doing. The actions, all that we are doing, all come under that Vishaya karma. That, Vishaya karma leads to some happy moments, some sorrow moments. Sometimes we are happy with what we have done. Sometimes we don't feel very happy. So all experiences you get. And we always desire for the result of that action. The second one, this is the first one, the Vishaya karma is also called the binding actions, binding karma. The second one is the Shreyo karma, which is the liberating actions. In that, we always think that God is the doer. We don't think about the results of what action we have done. It leads us to the right path. It helps us to practice the 5 values, Satya, Dharma, Shanti, Prem, Ahimsa. With every act that we do in Shreyo Karma, it yields a progressive bliss. It is pure, faultless, without any desire for the results, because God is the doer, Swami is the doer. So we do this as work is worship, duty is God. Karma, when it is done beyond detachment, action, it becomes yoga. An individual should take actions which contributes to others' well-being. So as leaders, as young Sai devotees, Sai youth, you must all strive to be making use of every opportunity of service that comes your way. Anything that comes your way where you can do some service, you must take that opportunity. Grab that opportunity, in fact. Because seva is the highest form of sadhana. Again, Swami's example, I'll give you. This has come in the Satyam Shivam Sundaram. In the early years, Swami used to do Narayan Seva, Dasara time. And he used to himself give food to the devotees, the Narayanas, thereby showing us that this is how things have to be done. Only asking getting some packets of food and distributing, no. We have to see that that person is given enough food till he feels satisfied. And do it yourself. You have to bend your body for that. Do it. Swami has done it. There are many photographs which show. So once when Swami was doing this, there was a photographer who wanted to take a photograph. He said, Swami, I'll put it in the newspaper. Swami said, that do you take a photograph when you serve your family members with food and put it in the newspaper? That is the importance of Narayana Seva. So actions, Seva, and similarly on another occasion at Dharmakshetra, Swami was standing at, the Dharmakshetra Mandir, Swami's Mandir is at a height. So there were people running to see, have darshan of Swami. Amongst them, there was a lady who was very old, who was panting for breath as she reached the Mandir. Swami himself went inside and got a glass of water for her. What does all this mean? Swami says, my life is my message. And he has given us enough messages, enough instances for us to imbibe, for us to practice in our lives. So dedicate all actions that we do to the divine. Consider every act or every activity that we do as Lord's work. Undertake them with unwavering faith in him. Pray to Swami, Swami, I'm doing this work in your name. You have to take care of it. Whatever it is your work, Swami. It is you who is doing it. Then we are devoid of that ego. We are not bothered about the result, whether we are going to succeed or not. And I'm telling you, it is going to be 100% success in that. Good actions will lead to Chitta Shuddhi. When we are doing good actions, the purity of mind takes place. So in the first letter, we saw the purity of speech. Now purity of mind. Where there is purity of mind, the mind will be filled with Jnana Siddhi, dawn of wisdom. Gita also teaches us Karmanyeva Adhikaraste Ma Phaleshu Kadachana. Don't think about the actions. Keep on doing good actions, good karmas. Gandhiji, Mahatma Gandhi, set a very great example. He wanted to eradicate untouchability. So what he did, he used to go mix with them, go to their houses, sit with them, eat with them, so that they feel comfortable in his company. Now, for leaders, as leaders, it is very important what you do. What are the things that you are doing? Because you are all going to be role models for other youth of the society. There is another instance. Dr. V.K. Gokak was the Vice Chancellor, first Vice Chancellor of Swami's University, Institute of Higher Learning. He was also the chairperson of the Sahitya Kala Academy. So when he was the Vice Chancellor, he had completed his period of chairmanship of the Sahitya Kala Academy. And one Professor Banerjee was to take charge from him. But Dr. Gokak was not getting enough time to go there. So they came to Prashanti Nilayam so that they can have the charge handing over and taking over. So when they came, naturally they will have Swami's darshan. And Swami was so benevolent, he called them for an interview. Now, Professor Banerjee, during the interview, took out a handkerchief from his pocket and, he blew his nose. Swami saw that the handkerchief was very dirty. It was black. Because Mr. Banerjee had the habit of inhaling snuff. So it was very dirty. And then he put back that handkerchief into his pocket. Then Swami asked him, why do you have this addiction? Why are you doing this? And immediately after that, Swami took his handkerchief and wiped his face and looked at the handkerchief and found that the handkerchief was all red. because at that time Swami used to chew bitter leaves, pan. Then immediately Swami thought that I am telling this fellow to get rid of this addiction. And what am I doing? I am not able to get rid of this pan chewing, which I do the whole day. I must not do it. And immediately at that moment itself, Swami stopped eating pan. That is how you have to behave. The leaders have to be role models and to preach, to tell only what you do. Your actions have to be in such a way that it must follow your words. In an interview with the students, Swami was giving an interview. Students asked Swami, we get some thoughts when we are doing meditation, some wrong thoughts also. So is it right, Swami? Then Swami said, yes, positive thoughts, negative thoughts, all come to you. It is very natural. But you must not entertain the negative thoughts. And more importantly, you must not translate them into action. Because once a thought is translated into action, you have to bear the consequences of it. This was a great lesson that Swami told us. So when we are saying about role models and the virtuous actions of Sai leaders, another example comes to me. This was in 2002 when the then president, Dr. Abdul Kalam, had come to Swami with such affection, such love, as a small child comes to mother. He was there, and I also had the great opportunity to be there at that time. I also got my diploma that year from Swami. Now, on the day of the convocation of the university, the program was to begin at, I think, 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. I'm not able to recollect exactly. And much before that, we were all allowed inside the Sai Kulwant hall, because there are so many types of seating arrangement that they have to see. So they introduced us all into allowed us all into the hall, and many of the groups were seated. And suddenly this was very early, around 2 o'clock, 2 or 3 o'clock. Suddenly there was some hush, and Swami is coming, Swami is coming, Swami is coming. We thought that the program is at 5 o'clock and Swami is coming now. Suddenly Swami's car entered. Swami came inside hurriedly. He was wearing the orange robe only. Swami came hurriedly inside, went to the place where the guests were to be seated, the dais. Swami himself checked everything, every arrangement. He himself saw to every detail of what all things have been done there. And after giving a small darshan to the small group that was inside, Swami went back to his abode. And then again at the time, I think it was 5 or 6 or whenever it was, Swami again came back in that maroon colored robe as the chancellor. So what does this indicate? This is again how the leaders must behave. Leader must see that everything is in proper place. Swami is a perfectionist par excellence, and so is expected of his Sai leaders. So the Sai leaders must have the courage to decide about things, should be self-starters having a vision. They must have the ability to deal with people. Only a person who knows his job can deal well. Devotion must manifest in every action. The leader must understand, believe, and practice in Deva Priti, Papa Bhiti, and Sanganiti. The 5 Ds: duty, devotion, discipline, discrimination, and determination should be practiced by the Sai leaders. Controlling the thoughts and taming the mind Godward. We come to the next letter, that is T, W-A-T. T stands for thoughts. Watch your thoughts. It is said, Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo. It is the mind which causes us to be born again and again. Mind is a bundle of thoughts. So these thoughts are all stored in the mind. The storehouse is the mind. Thoughts give rise to actions, and what we enjoy and suffer are the consequences of these actions. In the Gita, it is said, Ananyas chintayanto ma, ye jana parupasate, those who are constantly thinking of God without any other thought. Krishna assures them, for such persons, that he would himself carry their burden and be by their side, guiding them, guarding them. What an assurance. And our beloved Bhagwan, when he was Krishna at that time, has said this. And now when he came as Sathya Sai, also he assured us of this. So as leaders, pure thoughts are very important. So pure speech, pure mind, pure thoughts, purification. So leaders must undergo that purification process through these 5 letters of watch. Positive thoughts, pure thoughts, constructive thoughts are very, very important. And for that, for controlling for having pure thoughts, the mind has to be controlled. Swami calls it a monkey mind. It keeps jumping from one place to another. Many of you sitting here and listening to me also must have traveled miles and miles. Must have gone to US, must have gone to UK, must have gone to Australia. Within India also, you must have gone to many places and come back. So that is the power of the mind. So mind is like a lock, and the thoughts are like keys. You can turn them towards God, or you can other side turn it towards the world. If you turn it towards God, it will bring transformation in us. It will make our lives meaningful. And if you turn it towards the world, it will entangle you more and more into bondage, into attachment. This is another very important tool that God has given us. We have to master this mind and be a mastermind. Not be slaves of this mind. The senses, the mind have to be in our control. And how do we do it? We have to purify it. It can be done only through japa and dhyana. So this japa and dhyana will help us to purify our thoughts. Again, 9-point code of conduct says about this. Hope all of you are aware of the 9-point code of conduct and you use it in your day-to-day life. So for taming the monkey mind, japa and dhyana, non-stop repeating the name of God. So let me tell you another story. There was a king who was a very, very good king. He was liked by his subjects. So once the gods thought that let him give him some support. He is doing so good for his people. He's such a kind, compassionate person. Let us help him. So the gods brought a genie. You know a genie? He brought a genie to the king and said, see, this person is there. He will help you in every job that you have to do. You are doing so much for your people, so much for your kingdom. So this person is going to help you. But there is one condition. Don't leave him idle. If you leave him idle, he will run after you to eat you. He will want to eat you up. So be careful. Don't leave him idle. Give him some work always. The king said, oh, that is so thoughtful of you. I have so many things to be done. And I'm extremely thankful to you for this genie. So now the god disappeared and this genie started moving behind the king. Tell me, Akka, what I have to do. What is the instruction that you have to give me? So the king said, construct 100 houses, construct roads, construct gardens, construct museums, construct this, that, so many every time. And genie used to do it in a second. And then the moment his work is over, he used to go move behind the king, wherever he followed the king, chase the king. And the king used to feel very bad. What is this? He does everything so fast. And he was running out of work for him. So the king thought, what do I do with this fellow? Because he will eat me up if I don't give him work. So the king thought of an idea. He built a long pillar, a very long one. Asked the genie to make it. And then he asked the genie that till the time I give you the next work, what you have to do is climb this tower, come down, climb this, come down, and keep on doing this. So you have some work to do. This king is who? This is our mind. The genie is the mind. And we, the human beings, are the kings. We have to constantly give work to the mind. Otherwise, the mind will run after you to eat you up. So what is the tower that we are going to construct? The name of God. So whenever we are free, whenever we are not doing anything, let us make it a point to do Namasmarana. Think of God. Let us constantly remember God. Make it a constant integrated awareness that we have. Constantly think of God. Whichever Ishtadevata you have. And if you are praying to Swami, think of him whenever you are not doing anything. And whenever you're doing anything, the mind has to do something good. So that is how you purify your thoughts. The mind has to be silenced and calmed through japa and dhyana to bring in only positive thoughts. For this, Swami gives us an example. That have you seen the ocean? When the tides rise and when it comes to the shore, you find that all that is there inside the ocean, the dirt, the things that people have thrown, all that come with the tides and it is left on the shore. Similarly, we also have to keep purifying the thoughts within us through japa and dhyana. Dhyana also, meditation, Swami has said in Dhyana Vahini, he has explained how to do it. And you all know it, therefore I'm not saying. So when we are talking about thoughts and mind, the desires also have to be curbed. And for that, as leaders, you must practice sealing on desires. Everything has to be in limits. time, food, money, knowledge, energy, everything has to be conserved and used in the proper way. As leaders, you have to ensure that. And then only we can say that our thoughts, our mind, our actions, our words are all purified and we are ready to be instruments in Swami's work. So a person whose thoughts, words and deeds, we have spoken about all these three, are in harmony, can become a good and effective leader. Thoughts, words and deeds are in harmony, are in unison, can be a good leader, can be an effective leader. Thoughts should not be related to lust, greed, anger, egoism or jealousy. Swami has, when I mentioned anger, Swami has told us how to get rid of anger. He said, when you get that bout of anger, you must move away from that place where you are. Or another thing he said, drink a glass of water and that will calm you. Another thing he said, that you can go and look how you look at the mirror, and you will feel how ugly you are looking when you are angry, and you will yourself feel like laughing at yourself, and the anger would subside. These are some of the techniques our beloved Bhagwan has told us to get over anger. So a leader should not have any duplicacy. What he thinks, he must say. What he says, he must do. He or she should be transparent and straightforward person. Selflessness, trustworthy, no shortcuts to success. The success has to be done through hard work only. There is a saying that success travels on a vehicle called hard work, but it is fueled by self-confidence. That self-confidence we must have. That self-confidence will come with Swami with us, and then we can work wonders. So single-mindedness, focused thoughts can only come when you purify your thoughts. You are able to handle stress situations, conflicts, then unpleasant situations. So all that can be dealt with as leaders if the thoughts are controlled. So Swami says, do not misuse your tongue. Do not criticize or make fun of others. Chant the name of God. Believe that God is in everyone. Perform all actions as offering to God. Learn to sacrifice. Utilize the body for service of others and mind for contemplation on God. Pray and work for the welfare of all. And a very important saying which I like so much to share with you: bend your body, mend your senses, end your mind. That is the crux of a good leader, how a good leader should be. Then you will be a mastermind. It is said, then you will be a divine instrument that Swami will do work wonders with you. The next letter is the character, C. Character, Swami says, the end of education is character. Each individual is a bundle of virtues and weaknesses, but more of virtues, because weakness, I always say, are the areas that we have ignored over the years, over the time. If we look into it properly, we can certainly get over all the weaknesses. When we speak of character, I'm reminded of a saying of Barack Obama. When he took over as the president of US, he said in his speech, as the first speech of the president, he said, the character of a nation is not revealed at the time of ease and comfort, but the right we do when the time is hard. Swami refers to individual character and national character. Swami says, the total of this only makes an effective leader. So individual character plus national character is equal to a wonderful true leader. So national character means you having that love for your nation, patriotism. And individual character means a person who has thoughts, words, and deeds working in unison. Purity in thought, word, and deed can be achieved. Swami says, think no evil, think what is good. See no evil, see what is good. Hear no evil, hear what is good. Talk no evil, talk what is good. Do no evil, do what is good. So for national character, we must develop that love for the nation. That means it is not only the activity is concerned to 15th August or 26th January, but the patriotism means that everything that you do, everything that you do should be for national development, to see that our nation progresses, to see that every fellow being progresses, to see that everyone gets that rise. So that way when we work, that is national national character. So the small deeds that we do, a number of deeds which become our habits, and that habit hardens into character. The question is whether these deep-rooted traits that we have, whether they can be changed or not. Swami has said that was not Angulimal the dacoit turned into a kind person by Buddha? Did not the thief Ratnakar become Valmiki the sage? So by conscious efforts, habits can be changed and character can be illumined. So these things, these are the things that how we must practice unity in thought, word, and deed, so that we are a person with sterling character. Swami says, if character is lost, everything is lost. And I have seen this. I have seen this happening with people. They almost reach the top, and from there they slide down. You know why? Because character is very important. If money is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, something is lost. If character is lost, everything is lost. So you have to be very careful about that. And the last letter is H. Watch your heart. Hridaya. Swami is the Hridayavasi. Swami says Hridaya Pushpam has to be offered to him. So the purity of heart, again, the purity of character, the purity of heart, the purity of words, actions, mind, thoughts, the character, and finally the purity of heart. Only a pure heart can have Swami in it. Pure heart is the seat of all values. That is from where the love emanates. Swami says, I'll give you a very nice instance I would like to share here. During an interview of Srimati Mallika Srinivasan, Swami asked their young son to ask a question to Swami. The boy said, Swami, which is your favorite car? Mallika ji thought, my God, getting some time with Swami is so precious. And this child doesn't know what to ask. He's asking about which is the favorite car of Swami. Swami gave a very lovely smile and answered, Morris Minor. And went on to tell stories of how he used to drive to Madras and how he got license and all that. Swami was telling that small child about Morris Minor. He used to drive, Swami, suddenly the boy said, you used to drive it yourself, Swami? With the star in his eyes, he asked that question to Swami. Swami had worn a bit of magic on that boy. So Swami went on to say, I will give you a big car. You must take it. Don't say no to it. So the boy said, he thought a little, He's a very small child. Then he said, okay. Swami then asked, will you give me your car? Prompt came the answer. He said, yes, Swami, sure, I'll give you my car. Shall I drive it for you? So again the boy said, yes, Swami, sure, Swami. Swami then smilingly placed his hand on the boy's heart and said, your heart is the car and I am the driver. So one of the most profound lessons in devotion had been taught by Swami to that small child through that message. So pure heart is very, very, very important. And Swami says 3 HV, head, heart, and hand. Whatever thought comes to your head, you must take it to your heart, analyze it, whether it is right or wrong. It takes a very, very, very small time to analyze it, whether it is right or wrong, and then only perform it as an action. When thoughts come to you and you immediately you change them into action, convert them into action, they may be right or they may be wrong. But if you take this route, en route heart, if you take from the head to the heart and then to the hands, then it will never be wrong. It will always be right. That is the 3 HV that Swami tells us to practice. So all values are there in the heart. When there is righteousness in the heart, there is purity, there is beauty in the character. When there is beauty in the character, there is harmony in the home. When there's harmony in the home, there is order in the nation. And when there is order in the nation, there is peace in the world. So world peace can be achieved by righteousness in the heart, the pure heart. Love in speech is truth. Love in action is dharma. Love in thought is peace. Love in understanding is ahimsa. And love is the underlying principle. It is there in our heart. It is called hridaya, means full of daya, full of compassion. That is the flower that has to be, given to Swami, to be presented to Swami. So when as leaders we are working, be always compassionate, be always loving, always ready to serve your nation, your fellow being, helping them to progress. Follow the dictates of your heart. The decisions will always, always be right. So these are the 5 purification points that we have to do as young leaders. Purify your thoughts, purify your words, purify your thoughts, your mind, your character, your heart, and then you are ready to have a character which has unity in thought, word, and deed. And unity in thought, word, and deed, and purity of all this will help us to realize the divinity, the Swami within us, our God, our beloved Bhagwan within us. So each alphabet of our watch, when put into practice in a befitting manner, gets the response from the other. When the words are humble, the actions are right, the thoughts are noble, the character is steady, and the heart is pure. Remember the 9-point code of conduct. Swami has also told us the 3S, 4S, 3P, 4Fs, 5Ds, and the like. They are all beacons for us, beacon lights for young Sai leaders to make their earthly sojourn a very meaningful one, a very purposeful one. Bhagwan as our charioteer, our friend, philosopher, and guide. Keep holding to him. Hold him strong with you, tight with you, just as that devotee used to clasp him in his hands. And he is the best friend. Once Swami asked his students, a small child, how many brothers and sisters have you? The child, he counted all his brothers, sisters, cousins, and he said a number. Then Swami said, oh, this just children sitting with your classmates, are they not your brothers? Then that child thought, oh my God, yes, Swami, they are my brothers. Then Swami's next question came up. How many friends do you have? Then the child said, this time I must not make a mistake. So he said, Swami, all sitting here in Sai Kulwant are my friends. Then Swami said, no. Swami pointed to himself and said, God alone is your friend. So keep holding to him as your charioteer, as your guide, friend, philosopher, and the indweller of your heart. I'm extremely thankful to Gopi Garu for giving me this opportunity. The National Leadership Program is a wonderful effort from your side, sir, to channelize the thought process, the actions, the character, the heart, the words of these young children whom you are dealing with. I have seen this being performed in my family member, Dr. Shubhda S. Kumar. Her devotion I have seen for Swami. I have seen her yearning for Swami, for Swami's work, and always helping others, always doing the best for others. All this has come. It was there in her. All potentialities were there in each one of you. But it has been chiseled and, illumined by this National Leadership Program. I extremely thank each one of you and offer all the words that I have said at the feet of my beloved Bhagwan. Thank you, Gopi Garu, for giving me this opportunity. Extremely thankful, Sairam, loving Sairam to each one of you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a beautiful session. Now we open the floor to the question and answer sessions. Brothers and sisters, if you have any questions, please raise your hand. We will call out your name and you can ask your questions. If you want, you can also post the questions in the chat box.
Sister, seems there's no question. So if there are any questions, we'll later forward it to ma'am and we'll get the answers. We'll request ma'am to send back the answers and we'll share it with the brothers and sisters. I'm sorry, we have a question. Sister Aditi, I'll speak it out since I have it on my screen. The question is, ma'am, what is meant by watch your heart? Because heart speaks the truth and it wants what it wants. How do we judge? One of the participants has sent this name. How do we judge whether the heart, what it wants, is something that we should pursue? And please enlighten us on that, ma'am. Thank you.
So, as I said, whenever a thought comes to you, you take it to your heart and ask whether this should be done or not. And immediately you will get, because the indweller is there, and we have to, develop a habit of hearing that voice of our conscience. So, when you start doing that, you'll understand whether an action is to be performed or not, whether it is a yes or no from the heart. The heart will tell us. It keeps telling you. It warns you. Nowadays it is called the gut feeling or whatever it is. People say that I had the gut feeling that this is going to happen. It is the heart. It is the God, the indweller, our Swami from inside prompting us what to do and what not to do. We have to develop that practice. We have to develop that practice of listening to the heart and doing it accordingly. And then we will be able to understand what we are doing, whether it has to be done or not, whether it is a right action or not. And in 100%, we get a positive result of the actions that we do when we listen to the voice of our conscience, the heart.
So the follow-up question is that, could you tell us tips to listen to the heart? What practices do we take up?
Okay, that's a fantastic question. Dear Sai leaders, youngsters, I request you to constantly develop that habit of praying to Swami. Every action that you do, pray to Swami. Swami, please guide me. Please be with me. Please constantly tell me. Make this process, what I pray to Swami to make the particular thing very easy for me, Swami, because you only can guide me. You only think through me. You only speak through me. When you constantly tell Swami about it, that ideas come to you, that process becomes very easy. The whole thing, you will feel that I didn't expect it to be so smooth and so easy. You will yourself experience it. So to do that, you have to you have to develop the habit of praying. You have to do japa. You have to do dhyana, and think of Swami in everything. It must come to you automatically. It not that you have to say a mantra and then suppose you are signing a letter. When you sign, you say Gayatri mantra. Swami has himself said Gayatri mantra is the most potent of all mantras. When a plane crash had happened, Swami said, even if one person had recited Gayatri mantra, that crash could have been averted. So when you are just stepping out of your house, or you are signing a paper, or you are about to say something, you are beginning a function, or you are in an exam, recite Gayatri mantra, but you must have that full faith that Swami is going to make me successful, and that you are that audit, self audit has to be done by you, that you are on the right track. You are doing what is right, what Swami has said, what makes, what makes him happy. Only those actions are being performed by you. If you satisfy those conditions, then I'm sure with your prayers, constant thinking of Swami, it is not that when you're doing some office work or something, you feel that how can I think of Swami at that time? At the back of your mind, it should be that Swami is guiding me. Swami is making me do this. He is the doer. And when you start practicing this, you will find that it comes automatically to you. Yes, Shubha.
Ma'am, we have another question in the chat box. When one has an ambition to become something in life, do we consider it to be a desire?
No. Having ambition is good. But then it must be for the well-being of others. It must be utilized for the well-being of others. Like I had an ambition to become a teacher. So having an ambition to become a teacher is not a desire. It is a desire which will be purified when it is used for the well-being of the fellow beings. That is national character, Swami said. National character is not only patriotism. Whatever actions you are doing, whatever thoughts you are having, everything, every program that you are undertaking should be for the well-being of all. Samastha Lokah Sukhino Bhavanthu. That should be our aim. So having ambition should be, everyone must have ambition. Everyone must have a goal in life. But how you pursue it, the path, even food when we are taking, I missed that point. Even the food that we take, Swami has said the three types of Shuddhi, Paka Shuddhi, Patra Shuddhi, Padartha Shuddhi. And there is a story about it, how a person who had taken food at some place prepared by some lady who had this tendency of theft. Also, even after being a sannyasi, he developed that urge to steal a silver cup. So you have to have that urge to do what is right and serve others. It should be in the interest of our brother, of our society, of our fellow beings. Then that ambition also will be supported by our spiritual strength, our inner strength, to be successful in that.
Ma'am, we have one more question in the chat box. It says how to keep oneself reminded of watch, the watch that we discussed today.
Yes. So whenever you are saying some words, you have to practice first, you have to practice within you that whenever see your watch, remember, we keep, we all keep seeing the watch. So whenever you see the watch, you must remind yourself words, actions, thoughts, character, heart. And let me tell you, dear children, when I'm talking to you also, I think of every word that I'm saying, because that is going on inside me, whether I'm using the right words, whether I'm performing the right action. Will this action please Swami? Will Swami be happy with this? Will is my thought, word, and deed in unison? Am I, Cheppinuttu Chestara Swami has written, do deeds follow words? Am I doing so, like the character in that? Or am I following Swami's dictates that thoughts, words, and deeds have to be in line? So these things will come once you start practicing. Practice makes a man perfect, and perfect practice makes a man perfect. Let me tell you, wrong things, if you practice, it won't make you perfect. So the correct things, when you practice, it makes you perfect. And our Bhagwan has given us so many examples from his own life. His life is the message for us, and we have to make our lives his message.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like to call upon Dr. Shuravi to deliver the vote of thanks.
My most humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Bhagwan, and loving Sairam to everybody present here. Dear brothers and sisters, how fortunate are we that in spite of being in different corners of the country, we are connected here today, and we keep connecting here regularly. Nobody else except our own beloved Saima can make such an arrangement for us to be guided by such great personalities with such love and such great conviction. I'm grateful to Swami for today's session. Myself, hailing from Bhopal and having relocated with my husband to Assam, it was such a pleasure to see and hear from Usha auntie, as we lovingly call her there. I have seen her guiding so many youth with such great love and care and conviction. And having myself been guided by her, it has been such a great experience. I'm truly, truly grateful to you, Auntie, for making out time for us and letting us hear from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm extremely grateful to the convener of the program, Dr. Gopi Krishna Pidatala sir, that for keeping us so closely knit that each session feels like a joy fest in itself. Thank you so much, sir. I extend my gratitude to such a great audience for making this whole session so dynamic. And at the end, I'm very grateful to the Satsangatve Nissangatvam team and the NLP organizing team for making every session such a beauty. With this, we will conclude today's session with Shanti Mantram. Jai Sairam.
Samastha Lokah Sukhino Bhavanthu. Samastha Lokah Sukhino Bhavanthu. Samastha Lokah Sukhino Bhavantu. Om